Hello, so we are going to start chapter 4 today. I wanted to start by going over the targets that are on the target sheet. So this is the page that's stapled to the front of your video notes. You should have already watched video 1 and video 2. That's what was homework for you over the weekend, so make sure those are done for me to check in tomorrow. If you need to pause the video, let's pause for a second and make sure everybody has this out. Okay. So I'm going to read through the targets. You need to fill in 1, 2, 3, or 4 how you're feeling about each of these targets, right? We're just starting the chapter, so some of this might be review, but some of this might be stuff you've seen before. So in this chapter, we're going to be using these symbols, the greater than and less than or equal to, less than or equal to symbols, those inequality symbols. We're going to look at how we graph those on a number line, how we use them to compare numbers. Different phrases that are clues to which of these symbols we should be using. We're going to start that today, and you saw that in video 1. We're going to write and graph inequalities for story problems in real-life situations. Remember, you're filling in 1, 2, 3, or 4. Using substitution to check and see if an answer is a solution to an inequality. And then we're going to start solving inequalities, which is a lot like we did in chapter 3 with equations, but solving with inequalities now. And we're going to start with adding and subtracting and graphing our solution, writing our own inequality for a real life or story problem using adding and subtracting, and then we move on to multiplication and division and graphing the solution. There's a trick there we're going to talk about, kind of flipping that sign around when we have some negatives, and writing our own inequalities for story problems using multiplication and division, and then just like we did in chapter 3, moving on to two-step inequalities and graphing the solution. Okay, so take a moment, pause here again if you need to make sure you filled in 1, 2, 3, or 4 for each target, and then we're going to start some notes together. Okay, we should be looking at this note sheet together. Make sure everybody has this, and we're going to talk about some examples together. This goes along with what you already did in the video as well. So I can make this easier to see. All right, so the different symbols. You need to know these symbols, okay? This is the less than symbol. If I have something like p is less than -7, right, it would look like this if I graphed it. Open circle, an arrow to the left saying p could be any of these numbers that are less than -7. It does not include -7. Okay. All right, this one is the greater than symbol. So if I had something like n is greater than 2, right? Again, open circle, it doesn't include 2, but everything bigger than 2. So we would graph it with an open circle and an arrow to the right. This one is the less than or equal to symbol. So if I said like x is less than or equal to -3, right? Here's my closed circle at -3. Again, an arrow to the left would be saying everything smaller than -3, but also including -3. So the closed circle here says we are including that number on the number line as well. And then Q is greater than or equal to 7. Okay, again, that includes 7, so I use a closed circle if I graph a greater than or equal to. It includes 7, and then I would show an arrow to the right, showing all the numbers bigger than 7 are part of my solution. Okay, so in this chapter we talk about solution sets, right? Everything, all of these numbers, it's a whole set of numbers that could be a solution that would work. Okay, all right, I want to come down here. I gave these all to you in this chart in your notes. They're in your video notes, and I'm going to put this. You just need to know these, okay? You need to know which phrases go with each symbol, and if you see these phrases, they tell you which symbol you should be using in your problem. You need to know them, study them, make flashcards, okay? All right, so let's go through these. Which symbol would go with each graph? Okay, so here I see an open circle. That means it does not include that number, but everything bigger. So this is the greater than symbol. Here again, open circle means it does not include that number, but everything smaller. So the less than symbol. Closed circle means it does include that number and everything bigger, so it could be greater or equal to, so the greater than or equal to. And here a closed dot means it does include that number. It could be equal to or anything smaller, so less than or equal to. So again, we use the term solution set here to say anything where this arrow is pointing is part of the solution set. It's a whole set of numbers that is considered the solution. Okay, pause along the way here if you need to catch up. I'm going quickly to get our whole recording done. But I'm down here now. It says write the inequality for each of these graphs. Okay, so I've started the first one with an X. You always want to start with your variable on the left. And I can see this is a closed circle, right? And then everything bigger. So it's everything greater than -1. Closed circle, including -1. So greater than or equal to -1. Here again is a closed circle. So X could be 2 or anything smaller. So less than or equal to 2. Here I have an open circle, so it does not include 4, just everything bigger than 4. So X is greater than 4. And here I have at 0 an open circle. So X can't be 0, but it could be anything smaller than 0. Okay? So then this question says, is 0 part of the solution set? Is 0 a solution that would work? Okay? Well, let's see. In this one, yeah, 0's right here. It is part of the solution set. It is where the arrow shows me my solutions are. Number 2, now my arrow goes this way and here's 0, so yes, again. Number 3, now 0's over here. My solution is this way, but here's 0. So no, it is not part of the solution set. Okay, and then here 0 is at the open circle, which means it does not include 0. So again, no. Okay, pause there if you need to catch up, and then I'm going to move on to this slide. So whenever we write inequalities, we always want the variable, the letter, to be on the left. Okay, so if you end up with an inequality like this, you need to spin it around so that the variable is on the left. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, so here I notice the pointy side is towards the B, so I'm going to write the B first. The pointy side is still going to be towards the B, and now it says B is less than 7. That's the way I would want to write it. Okay, here I notice the open side is towards the C. I want to write the C first, still the open side towards the C, and then -5. So when I take this and spin it around, now it says C is greater than -5. Okay, or here the pointy side towards the X, pointy side still towards the X, spin the whole thing around, and now I get this. This is the correct way to write them, with the variable on the left, so that you can read it. Right? B is less than 7, C is greater than -5, X is less than 16. Okay? All right, so let's write these inequalities. Now they're giving me, a sentence, or these could be story problems, and they want me to write the inequality that would go with it with just numbers, letters, and symbols. So here I'm looking for the clue words. All right? No less than. Those are my clue words. No less than 14. Well, I need to look back at my notes on the other side, or my video notes here, and figure out what symbol to use for no less than, right? No less than means it has to be greater than or equal to 14. So B is greater than or equal to 14. At most 8. I want you to find the clue words and kind of put it in a box with the number at most 8. And then look in your notes and decide what symbol this would be. Okay, and then write it out. So at most, that means less than or equal to 8. So C is less than or equal to 8. And notice my variable's always in the front. Always comes first. It's always on the left. Okay, so pause it here and then try those next 4 on this slide. Okay, hit play again when everyone's kind of caught up and you have these done. And let's go through the answers. So 9 more than X, if I start with X and add 9 to it, is fewer than -5. Fewer than -5 would be this back part, less than -5. All right, the next one, your clue words, at least 12. So at least 12 means greater than or equal to 12. Then I go back and read it again. The product of P and -2, that means I'm multiplying -2 times P, at least 12. All right, the quotient of V and -3 is greater than -6. I find my clue words and those stay glued together. Greater than -6. Quotient, remember quotient is to divide, so V divided by -3 is greater than -6. And then I put this one in here because you see that I have 15 less than r is less than 8, right? We can see this kind of less than used in a couple different ways. So the less than 8 is actually, here's the clue words that telling me that I'm using the less than symbol, less than 8. And then 15 less than r. That means if I start with r and take 15 less than that, or 15 away from that, it's going to be less than 8. So careful if you happen to see that, it could be in either place, but the clue words here is less than 8. And I know I'm taking 15 away from r. Okay, pause if you need to catch up, or we're going to come over here. Plugging in and testing solutions. This is also called substitution, right? Plug the value in that they give you and see if it works. And your answer is either yes or no. Okay, so this says, tell whether -5 is a solution to the inequality. Plug it in and see if it works. Well, we're always going to plug it in for the variable. Okay, so here you see that I have x plus 12, and they want to know if -5 would work. So -5 plus 12. And now I just have to finish working this out, evaluate this. -5 plus 12 is 7. Is 7 greater than 7? No, they're equal, but 7 is not bigger than 7, so your answer is no. Okay, -5 would not be a solution there that works. All right, let's try the next one. Here I want to plug in -5 again and see if it works in this one. So 1 minus 2 times -5 less than or equal to -9, and I'm going to see if that's true. Well, here I have multiplication I have to do first. A -2 times -5 is positive 10. So 1 minus 10, and I'm going to see if that's true. 1 minus, positive 10. 1 plus 10. We get a positive 10 there. So 1 plus 10 is 11. 11 is not less than or equal to -9. When I get down to here, that statement is false. So again, my answer is no. -5 is not a solution that would work here if I plug it in for P. Okay, so this is kind of like a little mini assessment. These 5 questions here, I want you to pause and everybody try them, right? Use your video notes, use your examples here, and then we'll hit play when everybody's ready to check them over together. Okay, so here's my little mini check at the end. A is at least 5. Here's my inequality. The variable comes first, greater than 5. 4 times B, I would write that as 4B. At most means it's less than or equal to -4.73. Number 3, tell whether -2 is a solution. So I took this -2 and I plugged it in here for G. So I came over here and worked it out. This gave me -12 minus 14, which is -26, is greater than -21, and that's false, so my answer is no. Okay. Number 4, graph this on a number line. Right, I know P is less than or equal to, so I need to be able to look at that symbol and immediately say the words in my head. I know that is the less than or equal to symbol, which means it does include -1.7 and everything smaller. So a closed dot, closed circle, arrow to the left. Okay. And then number 5, write the inequality for each of these graphs. I know it's tiny and a little hard to see, so sorry, the arrows are going this way. So this is open circle and arrow to the left. So x is less than 4, does not include 4, just everything smaller. And this is a closed circle, arrow to the right. So it does include 3 and everything bigger. X could be bigger than, greater than, or equal to 3. Okay? All right, thanks. Now we'll get started on the homework.